Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Yali ho and welcome to the anti-penultimate round of our North American League here at Apex Online Racing, and its destination China tonight, where our drivers will be put through their paces for the 14th time this season. But before we get underway, let's remind ourselves of what happened last week at Suzuka and take a look at the standings. And what a week it was. 7 drivers unable to finish, but closing the gap up top after taking home the trophy and scoring an extra point from fastest lap was Flavio, who managed to hold on to the lead in the closing stages of the race by just 3/10 from championship leader Lucas Yarn, just 2 points separating the Aston Martin drivers now. Vizimon widens the gap to Igor by 2 points after extending the mediums for pretty much the entire race after an early safety car. Lars, unfortunately, was unable to finish after Giovanni collided with them into the hairpin, which puts them all but out of contention for third in the standings. Speaking of Giovanni, they ended up in 11th after stewards awarded a 10-second time penalty for that collision, although Jack, who was also unable to score last week, so still 4 points separate the two of them. Then it's 9 points back to Steph Farrell, who looks to be back on their streak of consistent points finishes after placing 7th last week. Those 6 points keeping their Alpha Tauri teammate Axel at arm's length, who bagged their second podium on the bounce. And Sabbath has dropped 2 places as a result, as they were unable to finish. Only a point gap though, and we've seen before that their pace can score some big points out on the track. Tazik, apologies, there we go. Tazik moves into 11th overall after crossing the line ahead of Steph on track, but losing the position to time penalties. Still did enough to pick up 4 points though and extend their lead on Shentar. Maicon managed to walk home with 2 points, but the biggest news of the night, for me at least, came in the form of Murphy's Law, who more than doubled their points in a single race, finishing 6th and pushing them 5 points clear of Firefox, Bulldog and Rafa. And if we go over to the constructors standings, those 8 points have pushed Williams ahead of Ferrari by 4. Mercedes closed the gap to Alfa Romeo down to 8 points as well. Steph and Axel have brought the juniors of Alpha Tauri into the lead in the Battle of the Bulls. 14 points the gap between them, and they also pull ahead of Team Reserve in the process, who are on 74. Not only that, but the gap between them and Haas is now just 16 points. McLaren widen the gap to Haas by 10, but Alpine are pulling away. Not out of reach just yet, but McLaren will need to put in a stellar performance tonight to put them back in the running for second. And up at the top, confirmed champions is Aston Martin. Still neither driver failing to podium once this season. And the battleground tonight, Shanghai. 5.4 kilometers of track, 1.2 of which makes up the longest straight on our calendar, where our drivers can expect to experience speeds in the region of 330 kilometers an hour with the assistance of DRS before slamming on the brakes into the hairpin. 28 laps around this challenging mix of 16 low and high speed corners will push our drivers and their cars to the limits. 2 DRS zones, 2 major overtaking opportunities, the hairpin and the home straight, which leads down into the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2. So that's the setup for tonight, and as I speak, our drivers are getting ready. Some changes to be aware of. Taylor Funk is in for Jack tonight in the Alpine, so a possibility McLaren could close the gap. And some notices from the steward's office as well, which we'll get to in due course. So, 28 laps, and then 2 more races until we reach the end of the season. And as we head down to the track for qualifying, we see it's a little bit misty out there. Doesn't look like full rain, but looking at the weather center, it's overcast. We're seeing a 20% chance of rain at the moment, with a forecast of clear for the race. So as our drivers are getting ready, just to look at some of the major battles tonight. Lucas and Flavio, just 2 points separating them. Battle for third between Fizzymon and Igor. There's a 21-point difference there. A lot of ground to make up. Steph and Sabbath, there's a 6-point gap there. Steph having been very consistent throughout the entirety of the season. And Sabbath having put in some amazing performances over the course of the season as well. So it looks like out in front is Finale. So Finale's going to have our lead lap. As I said, it's overcast, 20% chance of rain. But it looks like all of our drivers are on dry running. We've got a few people going out on mediums by the look of it for their initial lap. So who have we got? We've got Finale out in front. Then it's Firefox, Sabbath, and Steph, followed by Murphy's Law on the mediums there. We are going to ride on board with Finale as we go to a hop. Okay, and it looks like Finale is about to get underway. Taking it a little bit wide there, and a 5-place grid penalty for Giovanni Santos. Into turn 1, which will quickly become turn 2 uphill, and clipping that double apex if you can. Going back downhill into 3 and 4. Power down nice and early as you exit 4. Ease the car into the straight. 5 is barely a corner. Flat out to the left, setting up for 6, where it's down as far as 2nd before going up through the gears and through the S's. Not lifting through 7 if you can help it before dropping to 4th through 8, 9 and 10. We've got the double left-hander. Very easy to have the rear momentum swing the car around here. Keeping it right to widen 11, feathering into the difficult to perfect 12. A crucial corner will set you up to 13, and that massive 1.2 kilometer straight we were on about. DRS wide open down here, reaching over 300 kilometers an hour before hitting hard on the brakes at the end here. And it looks like Finale has invalidated their lap. All the way down to 2nd to get as much rotation out of that car as possible. And it's full throttle once the car's brought round to what I guess you could call turn 15. Keep to the right, miss that sausage curb on the inside. That's new. And full throttle across the line. No time set yet, but Firefox takes P1 at the moment on the mediums. And let's have a look at our timing board now. As Firefox goes off the track. Steph Farrell sets the fastest lap so far on the soft to 32.3. We're expecting to see low 31s or high 30s here. And we just seen Rafa go out of the session. from race control there. They're disqualified from the session due to accruing 6 penalty points over the course of the season. So they've got a quali ban because of those penalty points that they were served with that collision with, I believe it was Murphy, a couple of races ago. They had a quali ban because of the collision, and then those 2 extra penalty points pushed them over the threshold of 6. So as we head into the 13-minute mark, Axel has set the fastest time, but coming around the corner is Lucas Yarn on their first lap. Round 16, avoiding that sausage curb, and it's a 1:30.8, and that is about on par with the times we saw in EU earlier. That's gonna be up there. That's gonna be incredibly difficult to beat. Let's go and look at Flavio, who is just coming into the hairpin now. You can see it's really hard on the brakes through there. Some drivers light up those tires. There's a lot of traffic around there, and Flavio's gone wide. It looks like we did have a flash of someone there. 1:32.2 regardless. Who else have we got coming up? Let's take a look. So Giovanni Santos, from what I understand, they were served a grid penalty. Let's double check that very quickly. Igor and Giovanni Santos were both served 2 5-place grid penalties. They're both down 10 places already. What do you do here if you've got a 10-place grid penalty from the get-go? I don't quite know. I mean, getting pole would give you strategic pole in the race, I suppose. So Lucas Yarn leading the pack. Fizzymon has set a time of 1:32.7, and it is misty out there. It is quite overcast. No rain as of yet with 10 minutes on the clock. It doesn't look like there's going to be any rain this session. Let's take a look at Igor, who is just rounding 12 and 13, and has the rear's gone out. The rear's gone out from under them. Let's see what Bulldog's up to, because they're just about to come up on Igor here. Full throttle through here. 7th, 8th gear, and you can see on their dash reaching 200 miles an hour and slowing down. I don't quite understand what the reasoning was behind that for them. Maybe they were giving Wilhelm a little bit of an advantage. No, they've dived into the pits. Wilhelm sits a 1:38.2. It looks like Fizzymon has gone into the pits. Okay. Oh, really difficult because my track map doesn't have pits on it. And that's Wilhelm out of the session. Just the rear spins wide and turns them into the barrier. And that 1:38 is going to be their time for the race. Let's go to Lars. Lars is making their way down that massive straight. You can see on the dash 320, close to 330 kilometers an hour down there if you can really push it out of turn 12 and 13. Through 16, missing that sausage curb, and across the line 1:32.3. 1:32.3. Lucas Yarn leading the field by a considerable margin at the moment. Then it's Axel, who themselves is about 8/10 ahead of Flavio. Steph currently holds P5. So, currently on their outlap and setting their first time. Steph goes purple through Sector 2. Is Finale. And here we see them going down that main straight. What else do we have? Firefox is putting in a considerably good time as well. Have a look at them in a second. They're just behind Steph as they make it through 16. Bit wide through 16. Igor has retired, knowing full well they're going to be starting from the back of the grid. It looks like Steph has improved to third, overtaking Flavio, and Firefox, I think, if I'm not mistaken, stays in 10th. No, they improve. They've improved. Nope, they've stayed in 10th. But they did improve their time. But 2/10 separate them and the next person on track. Let's have a look now at... That is not Flavio. That is not what my... Let's have a look at Taylor Funk. Taylor Funk we've seen a few times now. And they've invalidated their lap. So, shall we go on board with Bulldog? And it looks like Taylor Funk has had an issue in turn 2 there. And indeed they have. Flavio sets a 30.6. Lucas Yarn sets a 30.6 as well, but 300ths slower. Giovanni Santos, despite all the penalties, is still going for it. A 31-0 for Giovanni puts them in P3. Currently out on their hot lap is Fizzy as well. We're expecting them to be around somewhere near the top given their recent performance. Although they did say that they weren't able to get much practice in for this track because of other races they had lined up. We'll see how they fare into the hairpin. Looks like they've got a good line through there. Now just turn 16 to conquer. Little bit wide through there, but not hitting the sausage curb. Goes P5 with a 31.4. Tazik currently out on track as well. A 32.5 is their current time. Would help if I put the lap timer up. .24.4 through Sector 1. So an improvement from them so far. Coming across Sector 2, 27.8. They are improving slightly. Just 700ths faster than their previous time. But then again, there's only a couple of tenths between them and Lars. Coming into this hairpin now, and this is critical. Taking these last couple of turns. Nice line through 16 and brings it across. Takes 1600ths off their time, but it's not enough to pass Lars. They stay at P8 for now. And with 4 minutes left on the clock, if they want to get another run in, they're either going to need to make it this one or come in, very quickly change those tyres. So it looks like Fizzy is pulling into the pit. Let's have a look at Lars now. Lars in Sector 2 is 3/10 down on their previous time. 24.1 through Sector 1, 27.4 through Sector 2. This is a very competitive time indeed. Taking it a little bit wide through 13 there. Reaching a top speed of 321 kilometers an hour before they hit the apex of that hairpin. It's a very good line through that hairpin. Now, just to avoid the sausage curb. Nope. Nope. Do you know what? Despite it being a good time, they're pulling into the pits. They're getting a new set of tyres, and they're coming out for another lap later. Let's have a look at Sabbath, shall we? Sabbath. It looks like Sabbath may be on a cooldown lap. Okay. Shall we head to... Let's go to Steph, shall we? 132.2. There is still time to find. Gonna have to make the most of this because they haven't got time to come in, put a new set of tyres on. 24.1 through Sector 1. A significant improvement for them. Just need to hold it. Murphy retiring in P9 currently. Also got Sabbath and Shentar out on track. Flavio, retire champion. However, Lucas Yarn. Oh, Giovanni Santos has been disqualified from the session for parking in a dangerous location, which means that they will be starting from the back of the grid. As Steph comes into the hairpin now. This has got to be up there. This has got to be up there. A 131.9 puts them P5. Puts them ahead of Lars and Tazik. As the last few seconds of qualifying tick away. 30 seconds on the clock. I don't quite know what's happening with Lucas Yarn here. It does sound like they've got some engine trouble. They pull into the pits for the end of the session. Axel here, 24.0 through Sector 1. Purple Sector 2, 27.2. Now, the key turn on the circuit, 12 and 13. Tail swung out a little bit there out of 13. That's going to cost them some speed down this straight, and it's going to cost them some time. As they come into the hairpin, flipping that apex, swinging it to the right before coming into turn 16 and across the line. Oh, and they've invalidated it. They've invalidated it on the final turn. And that wouldn't have improved them anyway. It would have been a 131.1. It wouldn't have improved them anyway. So, who else have we got coming across the line right now? Lundqvist sets a 134. Firefox skids across the line. Who else have we got? Shentar. Looks like they're on a cooldown lap. Lars is just about to cross the line. Last goes P4. Shentar's pulling into the pits. And I think that's our session. So, your grid, as it stands, Flavio and Lucas Yarn are your front row. The Aston Martins keeping their dominating position over the field. Then it's Fizzymon in P3 with Lars alongside them. Lars needing to put in a good performance today to stay in contention for third place in the drivers' standings. Let's quickly have a look at the race director, because I know there were quite a few incidents there, including collisions, which have resulted in grid penalties. So, your grid. Fizzymon and Lars. Axel and Steph Farrell and Alpha Tauri, third row. Then it's Shentar in P7. Very good qualifying performance from them. Tazik alongside in the Mercedes. Murphy in P9, which, considering where they finished last week, hopefully that momentum has stuck behind them. Then it's Sabbath in P10. We have Firefox in P11. I believe it's Starcraft in P12. Finale 13. Lundqvist 14. I have multiple Starcrafts on my sheet. Have a look. P11 Firefox, P12 Bulldog, P13 Finale, P14 Lundqvist Bro. Starcraft was 15th, Wilhelm 16th, Taylor Funk in 17th, Igor ends up in 18th, Rafa, disqualified before the session, finishes P19, and Giovanni Santos, qualified during the session, will start at the back of the grid. So both Red Bulls at the back of the grid here, as we prepare to get underway for the race proper. 28 laps around this amazing Shanghai circuit. And our drivers are lined up on the grid, ready to go. It is a clear day out there. Let's take a look at what our drivers have gone for. The front 10 obviously starting on the softs that they qualified on. But further back, it's an interesting tactic here. Firefox on Finale, Lundqvist and Starcraft on the hards. Looking to potentially make a one-stop here. Bulldog, Wilhelm, Taylor, Rafa, Igor and Giovanni on the mediums. The recommended strategies here. Soft, hard, pitting at about lap 8. Soft, medium, medium, pitting at about lap 6. Although if you're going on the mediums first, soft, medium is possible, apparently. So I've heard. But I have yet to see evidence of that. Soft, medium, medium with a pit on lap 6. Or there is a free stopper that's been suggested. A soft, medium, medium, soft from the people at Pirelli, pitting on lap 5. Although it looks like the predicted strategies are soft, hard and soft, medium, medium. So our drivers making their way around now. Several drivers unfortunately colliding during the formation lap, which means they're going to be starting with cold tyres on the grid. Very quiet. There we go. Giovanni Santos taking a very wide line on the formation lap. Quite interesting there from them. They're going to be at the back of the grid, but it looks like Finale is in fact going to be The last one to form up. Nope, nope. Giovanni has done a donut on the grass. Make sure that they're at the back. Not sure if that was intentional or if tyres came away from them. So, all our drivers out on the grid. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, 28 laps, and away they go. Flavio leading. It looks like there's chop and change throughout the grid. Lars has moved into third, managing to take the inside line on Fizzy through turn 1 here. Tazik has moved up all the way to 6th, and it's 2x2 through turn 3. Potentially 3 wide there, and it looks like Axel is starting to make their way up. Bulldog has gone off and has taken a penalty for it. Unsure what caused that, but it looks like they're having some trouble. Starcraft has also dropped down to P18. But up towards the front, Tazik is closing in on Steph Farrell. We've also got Murphy starting to close in on Axel as well. With a virtual safety car being called as Starcraft is out of the race. You can see there they've crashed into the barrier. And thank you for the predicted pit stop strategy. Medium to hard suggested for Bulldog there. Some of our drivers may be taking the initiative here to make an early pit. So I can imagine that those hards will take you most of the race, from what I've seen in testing. Still under VSC. So everybody's at 60% of racing speed right now. And most of the pack is fairly bunched up, except Bulldog, who is a good 10 seconds back from everybody else. And the thing is, once we go green flag running here, DRS is going to be live. So this virtual safety car has actually caused quite an interesting scenario where nobody's really going to be getting away from anybody, and DRS is going to be active straight after, pretty much bang at the start of the race. Several yellow flags. Looks like it's due to traffic as the virtual safety car ends, and Murphy has managed to make the pass on Axel, as there's a bit of a collision in the background. That looks like Firefox went a little bit wide there. I couldn't quite see what happened. But managing to take a position from Lundqvist, bro. These two really battling it out here. Let's head up to have a look at... Taylor Funk has taken the position from Wilhelm as Lundqvist looks to take the position back from Firefox on the hairpin. And that little weave there, that little rear end getting away from them has cost them the position. Moving back up towards the front, Rafa has had a bit of an incident here. And has completely spun it round going into the final straight. Yellow flags being shown as a result. Let's have a look at where Murphy is right now. Closing in on Tazik on their tail. Down to 3/10, down to 2/10 through Sector 2 and through these very fast S-curves. as we ride on board with them. Giovanni Santos bearing down on them, just 2 tenths behind and making ground. Bear in mind, Giovanni Santos started the race at the back of the grid, pretty much. So let's focus on Giovanni, because they are making some serious pace. And it looks like Murphy had to swerve wide there. Don't quite know what happened there, but it looks like Murphy had to make an evasive maneuver as a result of that's something that's definitely going to be flagged with the stewards later, I feel. And Axel and Giovanni fighting it out here. Giovanni holding back for now. Igor making their way up the grid as well. Now P13, but with that 3-second time penalty. Making their way past Lundqvist as well. But these two are really going at it here. Giovanni looking to get their eye in for P5 in the overall championship. And a reasonable record across the races that they finished. But does have a history of DNFs as well. So here we see Axel is closing on to Zeke, and it's 3 wide. And Giovanni has spun, and that's going to cost them massively, because they're going to have no speed into that straight as Axel makes their way past to Zeke, and it's a yellow flag as Giovanni Santos rejoins just behind Igor. And trying to make the move on the hairpin on the inside. And I think Igor let Giovanni pass there. That's what the weave was about, as Taylor Funk manages to get past Tazik as well. Something is happening with Tazik. It looks like they've pulled in for a set of hards. So, first pit of the race. Doesn't look like it was due to wing damage, but we'll have a look in a second. Let's go to P14, where Firefox is chasing down Lundqvist, bro, and smacks into the back of them. I'm surprised there's no wing damage there, because that was some serious brunt into there. That may be desync on my side. By the look of it, it might well be that. So just bear with us whilst that settles out. Let's have a look at Finale in P16. They're looking to chase down Wilhelm at the moment. Leading the race at the moment is Flavio. Winning here would put them at the top of the championship, but Lucas Yarn is staying within contention, just 3/10 separating the two Aston Martin drivers. Sounds like a very familiar story there, doesn't it? As we look towards Fizzy and Lars, who are battling for P3. Lars is going to have DRS down this straight with just 3/10 separating them, down to 2 now as they go into turn 1 and 2. Very tricky to keep speed through here, especially with those sausage curbs on the apexes now. It looks like Lars has dropped back to 4/10 overall. And we can see that haven't managed to make any ground, and a little bit of a swerve there going into the S's, and that's cost them. They're now down to 5. They're now 5/10 back. Were 2/10 at that initial turn 1. Have a look at our race leaders. Flavio and Lucas Jan battling it out. Both on the softs. Both pretty much on the same wear. Both in contention for the championship. And Lucas Jan has definitely got the speed. They've got the DRS. They've got that extra few miles per hour down there. But they are not managing to make the move. Flavio is managing to keep them behind, but they're going to have it again through here down the home straight. This is where making the move is very critical indeed. You get the majority of the lap to pull clear, and it looks like they haven't managed it. Still 3/10 behind as Sabath has pulled into the pits. Murphy is pulling into the pits. Firefox gets a 3-second time penalty. And let's see what everybody is going on. Sabath's gone onto a set of mediums. Maybe looking to do a two-stopper here. Let's focus on Axel, who is chasing down Shentar in the McLaren. 5/10 the gap. We've also got Finale and Lundqvist bro just 3/10 between them. Sabath, having come out on a fresh set of mediums, is chasing down the Bulldog, with Tazik right behind. I've heard it can be done. I've yet to see it proven. But tonight I may be proven wrong as Axel manages to make the pass on Shentar and moves up to P6. Now their teammate directly in front of them as Shentar has a little wobble out of that hairpin there. And Axel pulls into the pits. Lars now just 2/10 behind Fizzy, going through turns 1 and 2. Both of them on similar wear, similar compounds, so the grip going to be pretty much the same for both of them. And as we look across, that's Igor out of the race. What's happened there? It looks like they retired in the pit lane. It looks like they retired in the pit lane. Axel on the fresh tyres, now up to P10. And all the front runners still staying out for the moment. Lucas Jan still trying to close that gap as much as possible to Flavio. This up front is for the championship. This could be huge. Right behind them, you've got Lars closing down on Fizzy at considerable speed, making the pass on the straight. Can they hold it through the corner? Fizzy just tucking in behind as they go through the hairpin here. Through 15 and 16, Lars pulling into the pits, trying to make the undercut here on Fizzy. Lucas Jan now just 3/10 separating our front runners. Let's head to Finale, who is just 1/10 behind Lundqvist bro. They are pretty much nose to tail as they head through the hairpin and into turn 16. And the DRS is going to have a lot to say here, as Finale manages to get the inside line, manages to keep the inside line, and makes the pass on Lundqvist, putting them in P11 for the time being. And goes about 7/10 clear as well. Can't say fairer than that, can you? Let's have a look at Murphy now in P17. They're on pretty much fresh hards, chasing down Rafa in front of them on slightly worn set of mediums. Going to be interesting to see when our front runners go in. Obviously, Lucas Jan not wanting to pit at the same time as Flavio because that double stack is really going to cost them considerable amounts of time. Someone to keep an eye on at the moment is Axel. Axel, 24.9 through Sector 1. Considerable pace. And the fastest we've seen through Sector 1 so far. And putting some serious pressure on Firefox and Lars in front of them, the two Haas drivers. Axel managing to make a clean pass on Firefox there. Can they get Lars as well? 1:34 gives them the fastest lap of the race as Fizzy and Shentar pull into the pits. It's going to be interesting to see where they come out. It looks like Fizzy managed to keep P8 whilst Shentar, just a few seconds back, mind, all the way back to 12th. There is quite the train of cars now between them. Let's go to Axel, who is making the pass on the inside on Lars. And it looks like it sticks unless Lars can make the switch back here. No. Into the S's, and Axel is in the lead. Lars is just 3/10 back, though. Can they pull it back? Looks like Flavio has made the pit stop here. Now chasing down Taylor Funk. Bear in mind, Taylor, Giovanni, Steph, and Lucas Jan all still to pit. So Flavio currently effective P1. As they're side by side down the main straight. Focusing on Giovanni Santos directly ahead of them and really closing down that gap. And Flavio seems to make it. Is that Giovanni Santos? Or is that Rafa? That looks like it might be Rafa, actually. Rafa. Hold on, who is that? Yeah, it is Giovanni. The timing board is having issues, everybody. Lucas Jan has come out of the pits, and they're actually behind Taylor. We've got a little bit of traffic in front of them. They're now in P4. It looks like Tazik has dropped down to 13th. Firefox has pulled into the pits now. As Lundqvist and Bulldog swap places as well. Sabbath moves into a points-paying position right now. And they are in that train of cars, headed up by Steph Farrell. Shentar directly ahead of them. Steph Farrell has got to watch out. If they let one through, they could all be let through, as Taylor Funk is passed by Lucas Jan. Lucas Jan, oh, they're side by side. Taylor Funk is saying no. Third place is mine. Takes the inside line and is turned into by Lucas Jan there, by the look of it. So Giovanni Santos still to pit out front, is chasing down Flavio on track, but of course still needs to make that pit stop. Let's take a look at our train of cars with Steph Farrell out in front. Shentar is chasing. It looks like Sabbath has dropped back by about 2 seconds now. Now out of DRS range with Finale in the Alfa Romeo right behind them. Tazik within DRS range of Finale and on the newer tyres as well. So there is who is yet to stop. Taylor, Giovanni Santos, Finale, Bulldog, Lundqvist and Rafa all still to stop in this Grand Prix. That's what the penalties mean so far. Let's head to Lars, who is is sandwiched between two Alpines. And manages to make the pass on Taylor. But is it going to last? Because Fizzy's got through as well. Fizzy's got the inside line through the hairpin. Now, if Lars can keep the inside line there, Lucas Yarn sets the fastest lap of the race, as Lars manages to hold on to P5 for now. But of course, those Alpines are going to have their DRS wide open down that home stretch as they go into turn 1 here. Managing to keep a tight line through 2 and 3. As Lundqvist gathers another time penalty there. Lucas Yarn makes the pass on Giovanni. And Rafa picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. But here we are. Two of your competitors for 3rd place in the league overall. Lars leading with Fizzy just behind. Lars not completely out of the running for 3rd just yet, but really needs to pull something special out of the bag tonight to stay in the running. And with 4 tenths between them, it's down the home straight. And with that DRS open, Fizzy is really closing that gap. Looking to take the inside line through the hairpin. And Fizzy does make the pass. Does, however, mean Lars is going to have a chance to take it back down the home stretch. Are we going to see a back and forth between these two? Lars appears to not have enough to make up the 4 tenths deficit and currently stays in P6. Fizzy now P5. Up front, Lucas Yarn has been kind of slinkying between a full second and half a second back from Flavio. Looks like they're trying to build up some sort of momentum to make the pass on track. We know Lucas Yarn is theoretically faster than Flavio right now. And in fact, their fastest lap is a full 7 tenths faster. And now we have people approaching traffic, as it looks like somebody is being waved the blue flag. It looks like Wilhelm is being waved the blue flag, as you can see there. Rear wing wide open down this 1.2 kilometer straight. 300 kilometers an hour through here. Down to 3 tenths. Needs to keep hold of that tail as they run through turn 16. And it looks like they are making gains, but it's really critical what they do coming into this turn. Just a tenth between them. And it's nose to tail pretty much as they come through turn 1 and 2. And 3 tenths separates the two drivers now. Let's go back to Steph Farrell, who is making the pass on Shentar round the outside into turn 1 and 2. As we mentioned at the top of the show, this is one of the big overtaking zones on the circuit, the hairpin being the other. And Steph moves up to P8 provisionally, with 2 drivers ahead still to make a pit stop. So could even be P6. Let's have a look at what's happening with Lars and Fizzy. Lars now 8 tenths back, losing some time through those corners. Those hards are going to take a while before they start gaining any kind of significant advantage here. As you see, that DRS wide open from 8 tenths down to 6 tenths, down to 5 tenths. A full 3 tenths made up on that straight alone. Assuming Lars can keep hold of it, and that tail end through that hairpin just wants to go. Lars still hasn't got a hang of turn 14. That hairpin is really causing them problems. Maybe it's the lack of grip from the hards. Maybe they are just swinging into that corner a little bit too hard, putting the throttle down a little bit too early. Up front, Lucas Jan just 3 tenths back from Flavio, and it looks like that's going to stay where it is for now. Let's look at the battle for P8. Steph Farrell and Shentar in the McLaren. Shentar is was making good time here. If we have a look at their times on board, Shentar is in fact 3 tenths faster per lap, but it's making the move on track that's key here. With that 3-second time penalty, they'll need to make it soon because we have just 12 laps to go. Let's take a look at Larson Fizzy again as we're down to half a second. And again, it's that hairpin. That hairpin seems to be causing so much trouble for Lars. Lucas Jan, though, down to 3 tenths as Murphy makes the pass on their teammate Lundqvist. With Rafa right behind. Rafa manages to make the pass as well. And Lundqvist goes P14. Could take it back down this straight, though, depending on how well they manage to take it into this corner. Takes it really wide, in fact. And it looks like that's the way it's going to stay for now. A little bit of tyre shredding there on that banana curb. Let's go to Rafa, who is making some serious time on Murphy. All the way down in P13 at the moment. Can they make up the ground? Doesn't look like it. 7 tenths the gap. As it looks like Finale is in the pits for a change of tyre. Let's go up to Shentar now in P9. Still chasing down Steph Farrell. 5 tenths the gap now. And last lap, 2 tenths slower, in fact. A little bit of a weave there going into the hairpin. Trying to stop the slipstream there. Lucas Jan up front. This up front is for the championship. We know Lucas Jan has the pace. It's just making the move. And the last few laps, they've been 1 tenth slower than Flavio. Position on track is almost everything, as we see. I believe that's Tazik. Tazik have a little bit of a problem going into the home straight there. No place is lost, but it does push them 15 seconds behind the points now. Steph Farrell now looking to get some form of help from Taylor Funk here. They will be taking the position on track at the end of the race at the moment with that 3-second penalty. But that DRS is going to help them 7-fold, especially with Shentar bearing down on them. Lucas Jan managing to get down to just Just a 10th there at one point, by the look of it, as they come into the home straight. Now, 10 laps to go here. At Shanghai. Axel goes P3 as Giovanni Santos is forced to dive into the pits. Looks like they're going on a set of softs. Maybe making a run for fastest lap here. Comes out in P9, right behind Shentar. And look at this. Quite the train going on here. Taylor Funk leading it. Steph Farrell just 5 tenths back. 3 tenths behind them is Shentar. Giovanni Santos, although it looked like they were tagging onto the back of it, is in fact 5 seconds back now. Update on the drivers in front. Lucas Jan 2 tenths faster that lap. Definitely within striking distance, as Lundqvist gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And Lucas Jan is closing significant distance as they head into that hairpin. And Lucas Jan takes the lead and potentially the championship here. What can Flavio do? What can Flavio do? There are 10 laps to go still. A lot of time left in this race to make a move. Let's go back to Steph Farrell as Steph is making the pass on Taylor. It is going to mean that they're at a significant disadvantage going down this home stretch here. Taylor taking the inside line but taking a lot slower. And Lars and Fizzy are battling it out for P4. Gentar now down just 3 tenths coming through turn 1 and 2. All about getting a good line through here. And I'll tell you what, these two have been back and forth most of the race. It's a big thing for both of them. Shentar has got some ground to make up, and Steph has got Axel and Sabbath, both kind of chasing them down in the Drivers' Championship. So any points they can get would be huge here, as the gap between them drops to 4 tenths. Rafa pulls into the pits, bringing Bulldog up to P14. Have a look. Everybody has had their mandatory pit stop now. It looks like those are probably going to be the last tyre changes for the rest of the race. Giovanni Santos is taking the inside line. Giovanni Santos there, sneaking in between the two of them, and is now directly on the tail of Steph Farrell. And takes the fastest lap of the race as well to boot. And a very easy pass down the home straight there. Giovanni Santos, P6. So now Steph is back to worrying about Shentar right behind them. Those softs doing work as Taylor Funk. Sabbath, it looks like Sabbath has pulled into the pits for another set of softs there. Back to the battle for P7. We're on board with Shentar. Oh, and that's a bit of wing there. Shentar making contact with the back of Steph, and that end plate has gone. Couldn't entirely say who's at fault there, but it looked like Shentar just misjudged the braking point. Just misjudged where Steph was going to stop. And it's a full safety car full safety car, as I believe that's Rafa. No, Rafa's in the pit. Who is it? It's Wilhelm. It looks like it's Wilhelm. Yep. Wilhelm just on the side of the track there. And that is a full safety car. With 8 laps to go. People using this opportunity to pull into the pits for a fresh set of softs. Maybe. Yes, looks like it is. The last coming out in P6. This is really going to compress that gap. Giovanni Santos now P3. It's going to be on much older softs. And as we can see, Gentar making the pit. Zeke making the pit. Murphy making the pit. Bulldog has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car. Going to be interesting to see how much this field compresses. Safety car not moving yet because it's waiting for our race leader, Lucas Yarn. This brings Flavio very much back in it, and Giovanni Santos. Are they going to pull into the pits here? Because they've got 27-second gap. If I was Flavio, I'd pull the trigger. They're both going for it. They're both going for it, which means Flavio's going to... I mean, that time deficit isn't going to matter because they're going to be compressed by the safety car. But where are they coming out? Let's see. Let's ride on board with Flavio, who's going to be waiting for the Aston Martin mechanics there. Looks like Giovanni is just going to get the drop on Flavio. Axel's coming down the straight now. And I think Flavio is just out of the way enough that they are P3. Bulldog has retired. It looks like they've crashed on the inside here. Yep. So this safety car is going to be prolonged by the fact that there is another car on track. So as it stands, Lucas Yarn out in front. And in fact, 2 places ahead of their nearest competition, Flavio. Then it's Axel, Fizzy in P5, Lars in P6, Steph in P7, Taylor in P8, Shentar P9. Let's have a look at those penalties, because those are going to be huge. Only 5 or 6 laps to make up that gap. The majority of the field on softs now. In fact, all of the field except Finale and Lundqvist on the softs. So out in front, Lucas Yarn. And this is where it gets interesting, because this is going to be pretty much a 5-lap sprint. All told. Giovanni's going to have the slightly older softs. That could prove costly. It's unfortunate that they had to pit 3 laps earlier, but you never know when a safety car is going to come, especially in this league. Oh, there is a message. Okay. Some of the drivers calling for no rules, only Monza. So we're going to have 4 laps to go next time round. See if safety car is going to be approaching sector 2 line now. See if race control decide to bring it in. Nope, it looks like it's going to be staying out another lap, allowing the grid to bunch up even more. So we're only going to have 3 laps of green flag running at most. This is going to be a full-on sprint finish. We see Lucas Yarn out in front. See who's taken advantage of the safety car there. Pretty much everybody except Lundqvist and Finale, who pitted a couple of laps before. Likewise with Giovanni and Taylor Funk as well. Sabbath basically being saved by it here. So we're going to have another lap under safety car. Rafa will hopefully manage to catch up to the pack here. And 3 laps of racing after all this is done. Rafa choosing to pull into the pits. Another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So as it stands, Lucas Yarn, then Giovanni, then Flavio, Axel in P4, Fizzy in the Alpine in P5. Then it's Lars right behind. These two are going to be having a heated battle right here. Steph is in P7 at the moment with Taylor Funk right behind, one of our reserve drivers tonight. Then Shentar in P9 looking to prove themselves after the last couple of races where they've had some unfortunate incidents. Then it's Sabbath in P10 at the moment. As I said, they've got the pace. Just need to get the position on the track. Safety car is going to be coming in this lap, which means Lucas Yarn is going to be holding the starting pistol as we head into the last couple of corners. It looks like Shentar has spun out whilst trying to warm their tyres, and is now P15. That's a huge problem because the safety car is coming in and they're 3 seconds back from the rest of the queue. They are going to have to make some serious ground, but it looks like Lucas Yarn is helping them out by slowing down the field. This whole straight is just a tyre warming exercise for them. Going to be testing Giovanni and Flavio's reactions as we look behind. The whole grid weaving to keep their tyres warm as we are ready to go green flag running for the final 3 laps of the race here at Shanghai. Lucas Yarn with the starting pistol. Safety car is in. And here we go. And we're only going to have 1 lap of DRS as well, so it is pure racing from here. And a lot of chop and change. Taylor Funk is chasing down Steph Farrell with just 4 tenths between them. Flavio is right on the tail of Giovanni Santos coming out of Sector 1. 24.5 from Flavio, full 2 tenths faster than everybody else in front and behind. Fizzy also setting a 24.5 through Sector 1. As Shentar and Lundqvist, bro, have a little bit of a side-by-side there. Shentar coming out on top, though. So Flavio now just 3 tenths back. And again, no DRS for the next 2 laps. So we are it's only lap 28, the final lap, where people are going to be able to take advantage of that. And my, what a race this has turned out to be. Flavio now down to just 2 tenths and is closing considerably. Giovanni Santos doesn't seem to have the pace here in the straight. Flavio just tucking in behind as Sabbath overtakes Tazik for P9. And Murphy overtakes Tazik for P10. With Firefox just behind. Oh, and up front, Flavio is trying to make a pass around the outside. Firefox has got another 3-second penalty, which is going to do some serious damage here. Likewise with Taylor Funk's 3-second penalty from earlier in the race. Firefox making the pass on track, but it's not going to do much right now as we're with Flavio, and this is the thing. Giovanni Santos is in the way, makes the pass up the inside. Can he hold on to it? It looks like Giovanni has managed to keep the inside. No, a little bit of a swerve there from Giovanni. Looks like they lost control of the car slightly, and that's given Flavio P2. Flavio very much still in contention for pole here. Let's go back to Fizzimon, who is 4 tenths back from Axel. Now 3 tenths. Axel actually just bearing down on Giovanni Santos here as well. Let's focus on Axel right now as we head into this massive straight. 1.2 kilometers for the penultimate time here. Gentar getting a 3-second penalty, moving up to P11. Taylor Funk has in fact gone all the way back to 15th. And here we are, the final lap of the race. DRS is live. And it's these 3 that we're really going to be watching the battle of right now. Because there's just 2 tenths. 5 tenths separate the 3 of them. So Giovanni Santos leads with Axel just 4 tenths behind and Fizzimon just 4 tenths behind them. 2 DRS straights in it. Giovanni taking a rather wide line through there. We're on board with Axel, and you can see just how close it is. The exhaust fumes basically in Axel's face there. Axel trying to take the outside line here, I should say, widening that turn, trying to get as much momentum through to this home stretch as possible, because this is probably going to be their final opportunity to make the overtake and get their 3rd podium in a row. 3 tenths separate them, 2 tenths. DRS is open wide, and Giovanni, it looks like, wow, that's a lot of swerving there. Axel makes the pass for P3. Giovanni is going to be P4, and Fizzy is going to take P5. Lucas Yarn takes the checkered flag. Then it's Axel, Giovanni, Fizzy. Lars takes P6. Steph, quite considerably, P7. P8 is Sabbath. Murphy, P9. Gentar, P10 on track, but after penalties, it goes to Tazik. And then finally, towards the back, it's Lundqvist. Giovanni Santos being given the game's driver of the day there. And I have to say, to go from back of the grid to P4 is huge. So, let's take a look at those final results. Giovanni Santos, P4. What a race indeed. As I have had some issues with my... Apparently, that's some... Well, let's take a look at... there we go. The race results have come through. And there it is. So Lucas Yarn taking the 26 points with the fastest lap of the race there. As we scroll up and down the incident board. Because it does feel like there are going to be at least some talks with the stewards after this race. Final standings. Lucas Yarn taking pole and 26 points. Then it's Flavio P2, Axel P3, Giovanni Santos taking 4th, which, considering they started right at the back of the grid tonight, is huge. Then Fizzymon P5 taking 10 points and pulling further ahead of Lars and Igor, and I think pretty much securing 3rd place. Don't quote me on that. We'll have a look at the standings a little bit later. But we've got some people to talk to. The rest of your points paying positions first, though. Steph taking P7 for Alpha Tauri. Then it's Sabbath in the Alfa Romeo in 8th. Just 2 tenths separating the two of them. It came down to the wire tonight, especially considering we only really had 3 laps of green flag running at the end there. Murphy taking some more points for Williams. And then Tazik in the Mercedes takes P10. 1 point there. And it's 6 seconds back to the next driver. So let's have a look and see who we've got lined up for you. I think we've got an interview from Fizzymon. So, what a race. What a race indeed. So let's drag let's get our 5th place finisher Fizzy in here. Fizzy, 5th place on track tonight. How do you feel?
Too happy, a little disappointed I couldn't pull off the podium at the end there, but I'll take it. It's a good result, good race. Definitely not one of my best tracks. Yeah, no, I'm not too upset about it. The safety car, you could argue, hurt me, like, you know, because it cost me a position to Gio, and I was definitely going to get Axel with, I believe his tires were going to drop before the end of the race, but I was very underfueled, and so I needed to, I was going to have to fuel save, so it helped me, and, you know, can't complain in that regard, as it saved me from having to fuel save and lose maybe even more positions, so I'll take it. P5, not a bad result considering.
So you mentioned you underfueled. Was that a plan going into the race, or did you kind of burn a lot in the opening stages?
So, first thing I noticed around here is, for some reason, the usual 52 kilograms mark, that's about even or just above, well, that's overfueling, and it says the 28 laps is going to be about 48 kilograms, but that's not the case. You know, it's you use like over a lap of fuel during the race, pretty much. And so, considering the track record of safety cars we've been having, I went even on fuel, knowing that it's technically like 1 under normally. And so that was the plan, hoping for an early safety car. We had the VSC, so I saved a little bit of fuel there. But as the race was going on, I was starting to get a little concerned. I was like, well, 0.3 underneath, you know, I really don't want to start fuel saving with Lars forcing me to push just everywhere. And hats off to him. I mean, he drove a great race, and so he really kept me on my toes. And I had to do what I could just to, you know, be fast but not burn too much fuel. And yeah, ended up, you know, getting saved by the safety car in that regard. But you know, the plan was to have a safety car come out just ideally earlier on than lap 20 something.
So, obviously, at this point, there are 2 races to go. You are currently sitting on 145 points. You are 31 points clear of your nearest rival. Is 3rd place in the bag for you, do you think? Is that pretty much locked up?
Well, I still haven't driven Imola, so as long as I don't DNF there, I think it is. Seeing how Igor struggled today, because I know they do other racing also on Sundays. So if he doesn't, I know he's pretty competitive in some other stuff. So as long as he's not driving Imola all week, I think I can do enough to prevent him from getting too many points on me. And then Brazil, you know, do what I can. I should be able to aim for a top 5 there. And yeah, I think it's all but in the bag for me. So it feels really good to say, considering it's been a very hard-fought season. You know, wish I could be battling more towards Jan and Flavio. Maybe not every race or in the championship, but you know, at least sometimes, you know, would be cool to do. But I mean, they're just wicked fast. Just didn't have an answer for their pace at the start.
Well, I mean, regardless, we ended up with what was essentially a 3-lap sprint at the end there. What was your reaction going into that? Because obviously, I was sitting here looking at the safety car going, right, okay, there's a few laps left, it's fine. And then it just kept going, and then Bulldog crashed as well.
Did he run into the safety car? I that's how it looked like on my mini map, but like, I want to watch that back, because if so, I feel so bad because I was laughing my ass off. My language.
I didn't see him crash into the safety car. I just saw the wing go, but he may have. I didn't quite catch it. I saw the aftermath, shall we say?
Yeah. But yeah, going into that at the end, I mean that. I knew it was going to be tricky. I knew Gio was on worn softs. So I knew, considering the tire wear, that he was going to drop off. Like, he might have been competitive for the first lap, and then after that, he was just going to be easily picked off by both MRT guys and hopefully by me and Axel. And that kind of is what happened. Though obviously he had that little bit of a battle with Flavio pushing him wide. So going into that, I was thinking, all right, I need to get Axel as soon as possible. And credit to Axel, he had great pace, even on the more worn softs on the medium stint, and then come at the softs at the end there. I just couldn't get close enough, and I know part of it was down at the last lap. I was just making too many mistakes when I was like really close behind him, so I couldn't get close enough for the back straight. But you know, I had a feeling that it was either going to go like that, or I was either going to hold position or come under threat from Lars, or I was going to make some moves, and ended up holding position. So I'm just happy that it wasn't carnage or anything. I had a restart at China. It's the second race I ever did, league racing in AOR back in 2019. And the leader went towards the final corner, unlike what Jan just did, where he went out of the hairpin. The leader went at the final corner, and like 3rd place spun and smashed the wall, and everyone else just slammed on the brakes and like collected each other. And I was all the way at the back at the time. And so everyone got caught up in carnage and took damage, and it was just like horrible. But that went a lot better, and thankfully I didn't get caught napping like some people behind me. So,
well, you've pretty much locked up P3 in the Drivers' Championship. Any final words before we let you go tonight?
Congratulations to to everyone who was able to finish tonight. It was a good race. Kept it clean, and you know, we'll look forward to hopefully, you know, doing well enough next week at Imola. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thank you for having me, and good job.
Thank you, Fizzy. P5 tonight, P3 in the championship overall. It's Fizzymon. So I think we've got a couple more drivers lined up for you. Let's get Lars in here next. So Last
race I got shunted by Giovanni, I think, in the. Oh.
Hello.
That did not.
You weren't expecting that. Okay, sorry. Did I drag you away from a conversation?
A little bit. That's fine. It's fine.
Okay. How are you doing?
Honestly, pretty good. I'm happy I finished this race because last race was kind of shambles because of I got kind of taken out and then kind of messed up my own race. But yeah, I'm definitely happy with how this race went.
Well, it was P6 for you in the end. 2 seconds shy of Fizzy there. That last minute safety car. What was going through your head when that final safety car came out?
Honestly, I was pissed because I feel like I would have been way faster than Fizzy at the end of the race because of my tire wear, of course. And I feel like I would have passed because I could easily stay with Fizzy the whole time during my my stint on the hards. But so I think I would have passed him at the end of the race because his tires would have been gone. So I was kind of pissed that the safety car came out, and yeah, I had to go on the softs. They were also used softs because I used them in qualifying. I used 3 sets. So yeah, it didn't really work out because of the safety car, and I got even cramp in my foot during the soft stint, so that didn't work. That's why I lost so much time on Fizzy during, like, I think it was lap 26 or 27. So yeah.
Well, I mean, when all is said and done, you're on around 100 points right now. 14 points behind Igor. Now, I will let you know that Fizzy is 45 points ahead. Like, it's not unobtainable for you to get third still, but it is going to be a bit of a struggle. Where do you see yourself at the end of the season right now?
Well, Fizzy's got to get some bad luck if I want to finish third, and I gotta like up my game and finish at both of them, I think, first. So yeah, no, it's I want to try for fourth. Definitely pass Igor because Fizzy is just way too far ahead. Just because he is actually so consistent. Like, his finishes is so consistent, and then mine are kind of inconsistent. But like I had some pretty good finishes, and I had some consistent finishes as well. But just I had DNF'd and I couldn't show up for a couple races, so that definitely hindered my option for P3 pretty much. But yeah, definitely fourth place, and I want to pass Igor for sure.
Well, there are just 2 races to go. Imola and Interlagos. Where would you say your strengths are looking forward?
Definitely Interlagos. I really enjoyed that track a lot, and in the past, like during other league races and stuff, I've been pretty fast on Brazil. So I feel like I can have maybe third, if I can even be faster than Flavio or Lucas, second or first. But no, that's probably gonna be too much of a big chance. So yeah, I don't know, probably third in Interlagos, and then Monza or Imola, I think it is. Yeah, I've not driven Imola a lot, so definitely gonna try and practice a lot for Imola, and then hopefully I can at least pass Igor, or just stay in front of Igor during the races and pass him eventually.
Now, one quick final thing before we let you go for the night. One of the things that we noticed up here in our ivory commentary tower was that you were having a lot of difficulty with that hairpin at the end of the end of that huge straight, turn 14.
Yeah.
Were you finding difficulty getting grip there? What were things like behind the wheel?
So I feel like during my soft stint, it was actually that, like, the grip in the hairpin was actually really good. Like during my soft stint, I could have I can take the hairpin pretty good, but during my hard stint, just no grip at all. Like when I would have been in third gear, even fourth gear sometimes, I would just hit the throttle and just have a little bit of oversteer. So I don't know what was happening during the hard stint, but yeah, it was definitely a difficulty to take the hairpin and stay with Fizzy a little bit.
Well, when all is said and done, you did finish 6th tonight. You take home 8 points for yourself and for Haas.
Yeah.
Was that the result you were expecting, or were you expecting to finish a bit higher tonight?
So during qualifying, I feel like when I got 4th, I was actually surprised as well, because I didn't have much practice on China, and I've not been the fastest on China as well, because of like, I hate how the tire wear works on this track, because it's so heavy on the tire wear. So I was surprised that I even got 4th. I would have expected a couple other people that would have been in front of me, but yeah, eventually it was actually pretty good, and during the race everything went pretty smooth. I overtook Fizzy in the first corner during the start, so that was good, but then he overtook me again because I kind of messed up a little bit in some corners. But yeah, it was surprising that I was actually this quick for myself, but so I would have expected definitely 3rd, but yeah, I'm at least happy that I had a clean race and finished in 6th place, so at least some points other than last race that I had the DNF. So yeah, definitely happy.
Well, at the end of the day, it is P6 for you, and you're finishing tonight on around 100 points in the league. We'll hopefully see you next week at Imola.
Definitely. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good night. Lars there, currently P5 in the league, and as we heard, looking towards P4 overall. And finally, but by no means leastly, it is Steph Farrell. Steph, another points paying finish for you, and it looks like you're back on form.
I mean, I finally had a clean race for once, I'll tell you that. I don't know what happened at the start. Gaxel didn't get off the line, I think, or something, and I was just alone into turn 1, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that. Yeah, no, I'll take it. I was like, okay, they're all behind me, fine, great.
We were busy focusing on the front runners up here, and then just suddenly realized that Axel was further back than we expected.
Yeah,
so that explains it.
Yeah, he kind of just didn't get off the line. Like, I think he just reacted late, or maybe got the desync glitch or something. But he just kind of took like half a second to get out of the line. It was interesting. But yeah, other than that, I made a slight mistake of overextending the soft stint. I thought that with the virtual safety car lap that the softs might have made one extra lap. Because I was planning to basically go... Me and Fizzy had discussed, we were both basically planning to try a soft medium by extending the soft stint. I tried to extend it even more to have better life on the mediums, but that extra lap didn't help. I basically came out a bit too behind. So after that, I had a basically stint-long battle with Shentar, and I had a couple of fantastic side-by-side moments there. Like, me and him went side-by-side into the hairpin, the corner, the final corner, and then I re-overtook him into turn 1.
I noticed that was some like monumental battling between you two. When all was said and done tonight, we did end with three laps to go after the safety car. It was a bit of a sprint out there. What was going through your head when you saw that final safety car come out?
Well, soft and try to do what I could, but I got caught sleeping under the restart, unfortunately. Like, they kind of just went, and I was like, oh shit, they're going. Yeah, and I lost like a second to Lars, and because of the DRS train, I couldn't quite catch back up. And then Sabbath caught me, and we battled 2 corners into the final corner for P7.
Yeah, that was intense. That was intense.
Yeah. So it's safe to say I had a bit of a fun race.
Well,
this time around.
Sabbath is one of your rivals in the league. They're now 8 points back from you. Axel, your teammate, has managed to overtake you after their 3rd podium on the bounce. But Jackie Jack is just 3 points ahead of you. So what's kind of... I know we've talked about this before, but maybe it's changed after this race. What's kind of your outlook for the end of the season?
I mean, okay, how many races do we have left? Like 2?
2. We've got
okay, cool.
Imola, Interlagos.
Oh, okay. So I mean, more or less the same. But if the opportunity arises, I'm gonna try and battle Jack and get that position. But you know, I gotta try to drive the best I can and do my own race. I don't usually see him on track, Nick. You know, like he's usually either ahead of me or he made a mistake and is far behind me. So it's like I haven't really battled with him much this season. But hey, if it comes to it, it will be fun, I guess. I just want to try and do my best and see if I can maybe get that position.
Well,
yeah. As for Axel, I mean, he just seems to have a bit more pace than me. So, you know, good on him. And hey, at least that's helping the constructors.
Well, I was about to say, constructors-wise, you're now only 3 points off Haas. So, rapidly closing in on 4th place with 2 races to go in the constructors.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been consistently picking up points over the season, and then Axel has come along and had 3 podiums on the bounce.
Right.
I'm assuming 4th is going to be a very good finish for you in the constructors at this point.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good target. With him scoring as he is and me picking up, you know, the good point here and there, I think that's, you know, when both cars are scoring, that's good for the constructors, you know. So, you know, we want to try to maintain that. In any case, yeah, 4th is a good target. I think we can do it.
Okay. Well, any last words before we close up for the night?
Well, it was pretty fun battling. I want to thank Shentar and Sabbath for the side-by-side battling. That was great. And I guess we'll see the viewers and the drivers in the next race, which would be Interlagos.
Well, yeah, we'll see you in Imola next week as everything robots out. Steph Farrell, everybody, as it seems like we're losing connection to Discord at the moment. Really sorry about that. But that's all we've got time for tonight. Let's take a look at what tonight's race has done to the standings. I said to the standings. There we go. So as we can see, Lucas Yarn, after that win and fastest lap, has extended their lead to 10 points. Fizzymon is now in relatively can't be caught territory, 31 points ahead of Igor, who was unable to finish tonight. Then we have Lars, who we spoke to earlier, on around 100, starting to close on Igor there. Giovanni Santos, who finished P4, has moved up 2 places. Is standing on 75. I can't read my own table. This is what it's like at 2:45 in the morning. Axel, with their 3rd podium on the bounce, is now up to P7 with 60 points. 1 point ahead of Jackie Jack and 4 points ahead of their teammate Steph Farrell. Steph picking up points tonight as well. putting them that little bit further ahead of Sabbath. In fact, extending their lead by 2 points there. Tazik finished in P10, gains an extra point for themselves and for Mercedes. Also out there on the grid is Murphy. Murphy picked up 2 points tonight. That momentum seems to have carried through, and Williams seemed to have picked up more points. Who else do we have who picked up points tonight? I think that is everybody. Lucas, Flavio, Axel, Giovanni, Fizzy, Lars, Steph, Sabbath, Murphy, and those are all your points paying positions tonight. Let's see what that's done to the constructor standings. As we can see, Aston Martin still on the unbroken streak of podium finishes for both drivers. Alpine now on 194, a 54-point gap back to McLaren. Quite the gap to make up, and with Fizzy scoring higher than scoring higher than both McLaren drivers. Actually, both McLaren drivers failing to score tonight. That's left them a bit of a sitting duck. For Haas, Lars Alguera managing to make up some ground on them there, just 31 points separating them. AlphaTauri, though, the podium and the points from Steph there now just put them 3 points behind Haas, and the gap to Red Bull is now a whopping 23 points. Then it's Alfa Romeo who managed to pick up 4 points tonight, putting them that little bit further ahead of Mercedes. Speaking of Mercedes, Tazik's 1 point puts them up to 35. Williams now extending their lead thanks to Murphy's 2 points, sticking firmly in 9th. And that's pretty much it for tonight. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank our drivers for coming along tonight and racing, and most importantly, I want to thank this community as a whole for, you know, making this happen, giving me this opportunity, and bringing this community together. There are things that have happened over the last few days that have really shown how much this community kind of gels, and it's good to feel like home. So, last thing to say is thank you to our sponsors, to SIMSOK, the driving sock that helps you grip the pedals and helps evaporate that sweat away. Driver 61 for their bespoke driver training, and Elgato, with whom this stream would not be possible because without whom this stream would not be possible because 3/4 of what I do here is run by a stream deck. That's pretty much everything from me tonight. Massive congratulations to all our points finishers tonight. Thank you very much for watching, and that's all from us here tonight at Shanghai. Stay away and drive safe.
Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.